Welcome to applying the wisdom of the art of war to running business. My name is Mike Liang, and I'm gonna provide roughly 40 programs. It's gonna be a series of programs regarding how to apply the art of war to business running. If you are interested, please remember to subscribe. And at the end of each show, if you feel you are happy with what I show, please kindly forward to your friends and raise your thumb up. Again, my name is Mike Liang, and from today on, it's going to be a series of programs. And for the first lesson, we are going to look at Chapter 1. In The Art of War, it is written by Sun Tzu. There are altogether 13 chapters. And if we count that in Chinese characters, there are roughly 7,000 characters. So it is not long. Therefore, I would strongly suggest that it would be great if you have a book beside you together with listening to my show or exchange with my views on the art of war. The reason for that is I made a lot of quotations from Mr. Lionel Giles' translation. However, in order to make sure that we can apply those key messages, key learning points to business running, therefore, I would not allocate too much time on the original translation. However, I would try my best to let people understand how to apply or what would be the linkage to business running for the art of war. Now, like I said, we are having Chapter 1 today, and we will talk about 5 areas for analysis before any strategic decision making is made. Now, Mr. Sun Tzu was writing about war. However, when we are talking about today's business view, therefore it is necessary for us to consider almost all the same areas, like 5 areas. It is first, the moral law. Second, the heaven. Number 3, earth. Number 4, the commander. Number 5, method and discipline. Again, a lot of quotations I use would be from Mr. Lionel Giles. He made the translation of the art of war. And as I said, it would be great if you have a book beside you. At the same time, we can make sure that we learn as much as possible together. So now, when we are talking about the moral law, it is the unity, the unification of the team. As a leader, you must make sure that all your employees, all your team members, they have the same goal. They share the same values. They believe in the same thing. That is what I say, you should have the belief system for your team. Otherwise, if it is not a team, then forget about starting a war or forget about competition in today's business world because you don't have a team. So that is why Sun Tzu put the moral law as number 1 of the 5 analysis. If we go on to heaven, Sun Tzu meant it is about night and day, hot or cold, timing of the year or season of the year. For example, in the Second World War, Hitler launched its war against the Soviet Union. However, it was too cold. A lot of German soldiers were frozen. This is regarding heaven. Now, in ancient times, Sun Tzu was talking about how to start a wall in different timing of the years or according to the seasons of the year. Now, back to business running today, we are talking about the overall macroeconomy analysis. So whenever we want to formulate our business strategy, we need to consider what is the trend. What is the trend for overall macroeconomy? And also we would conduct the very famous analysis, PEST analysis, you know the tool, as a strategic analytical tool. So P stands for politics, and E stands for economy. S stands for socio-cultural, and then T stands for technology. So the heaven in the art of war, today we can look at that as PEST. So whenever we formulate our business strategies, we must make sure that it is following the trend, or we are taking advantage of those favorable external factors that will help us to take advantage of the trend. This is number 2. We talk about heaven. Number 3, earth. Number 3. Now, back again to ancient world, when we are starting a war, we need to understand the geography or physical locations, physical places where we are having the battle. Otherwise, we cannot make sure that we will win. However, nowadays, when we are again talking about business, most likely people will remember Mr. Michael Porter. He was talking about the analysis of the 5 forces. By that, I mean how the competition is today. Who are the same players out in the market, and we are competitors with each other. We need to look at that. We also need to look at the bargaining power of the customers and our suppliers. So these are number 2 and number 3 forces. And then number 4, we need to bear in mind there might be newcomers coming in, and the competition will become fiercer. Number 5, whether there will be any substitutions. For example, with the mobile phone or the pad, it's being developed more and more nowadays. We can see it can very well substitute the computers, no matter if it's laptop or desktop. So this is the 5 forces analysis by Mr. Michael Porter. Now, by earth, in terms of business running today, I would also like to remind you that we need to conduct the industry trend analysis. Whether this industry that we are in, it is going upward or it is coming downward. We need to bear that in mind as well. If it is going upward, of course, we need to take advantage of business scale. Otherwise, we may consider to shrink our business and making sure that at the end of the day, the profits is satisfactory enough for us. Now, after talking about the moral law, first factor, and heaven, second factor, also earth, the third factor, now we move on to the fourth, and it is called the commander. Again, we are talking about how to lead an army in ancient times. So that's why we use the word the commander. But in business, we are talking about CEOs, chairman of the board, and also the management team. So Sun Tzu told us there are 5 things we need to consider whether the commander or the management team, they are competent or not. First thing, wisdom. Second thing, sincerity and credibility. Number 3, benevolence. Number 4, courage. And number 5, strictness. Now, again, these are quotations from Mr. Lionel Giles' translation. Okay? If we look at number 1, wisdom, remember we are talking about the commander. Whenever we are talking about a soldier, whenever we are talking about a general, most likely people would put courage, being courageous, to the first factor. However, please carefully look at the sequence here. Sun Tzu put wisdom at the top because being the commander, being the general of the army, you need to formulate the right strategy in order to make sure that you will take your army, you will lead the whole country to the final victory of the war. So wisdom is by sequence very well ahead of courage. Next, after wisdom, we are looking at sincerity and credibility. You are the CEO or you are the manager of the team. You say it, you mean it, and your follow-up actions must be in accordance with what you have said. Otherwise, if you lose credibility, if you are not sincere enough, then your team members, they will be confused whether they will follow your commands, your order, or not. Number 3, being the benevolent, or nowadays in business world, every company is having this employee care program. Yes, we need to make sure that at the end of the day, we will make those financial figures, KPIs, achieved. However, we also need to bear in mind that our human resources, our team members, we would treat them, we would take very good care of this team so that they're happy enough. Now, number 4, as a general, you must be courageous, and as a manager, you must have the professional or technical expertise so that you have the authority in order to make sure that look at me, follow me, and I will show you what would be the right sample example to get this job done. Finally, when we are talking about the commander, the strictness. When I set up the rules, when I set up the disciplines, we must make sure that we will be strict so that all our employees, our team members, they will be in obedience with it. So again, when we are talking about the commanders, bear in mind the 5 areas that they must be in good sequence, and it must be a combination. In the future, for CEOs, for chairman of the board, when you select your management team, perhaps you can follow this sequence and you can follow those qualifications of the 5 areas: wisdom, sincerity and credibility, benevolence, courage, and also strictness. And also there must be a balance of the 5 areas. For example, if you are too strict, if you are too rigidly strict with your team members, they may look at you as a tyrant. So if you are too soft, then they may think, well, my leader, my team leader can be bullied, then at the end of the day, the job is not done. So, like I said, it is, bear in mind, a good sequence, and also it is a combination of the 5 factors, making sure it is very well balanced. Now, let us go back to the 5 overall analysis, whether when we are formulate the business strategies, The final point is method and discipline. I would draw your attention that as a manager, as a leader, you must spend the majority of your work time here. So you need to make sure that your team, you have business model. Based on the business model, you then make decisions on standard business processes and procedures, how we can provide standard services, products to our customers. And once those processes and procedures are decided, are developed, and now we can look at the organizational model in order to make sure that those processes are run smoothly. And once this organizational model is in place, then standard positions are already designed, making sure every one of your organization, they have the standard job contents. They understand really well what they are expected by the team. So please, once again, make sure that spend the majority of your energy, of your time in this area. And in my eyes, this method and discipline, that's actually where the core competitive advantage of a company comes from. Of course, by Sun Tzu, method and discipline, it means how to run the army, how to make sure that my command, my order will go down the organization across different divisions of the army, from the marshal, from the general to the soldiers on the shop floor, and how to make sure that we can run the supplies to the army, making sure they are very well managed, and also the expenses are very well controlled. That's what Sun Tzu meant in Art of War. However, applying that to business, I have been talking about it is business model, it is standard business practices, processes, procedures, and then also the organizational model. Of course, at the end of the day, every standard job, it is very well designed, and each team member understands what they are expected. Okay, today we started chapter 1 of the Art of War, and we talked about the 5 areas that we need to conduct detailed analysis when we are formulating business strategies. And that is the moral law, number 2, heaven, number 3, earth, number 4, the commander, number 5, method and discipline. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, if you feel you are interested and if you like this program, please kindly forward this show to your friends. Again, see you next time, and we will talk about the 7 comparisons when we are formulating our business strategy. Thanks again. See you next time.